Hi, everybody. It's Oprah. Our latest event for Kamala Harris raised over $100 million. Let's keep riding this blue wave to the White House. For factual information you can trust, get ready for the vocal minority with Nick and Steve. Two guys I'd share a glass of baby's blood with any time.
And cheers to you, Oprah. Thank you. Yeah, we are riding that blue wave. Over $100 million, dude. I heard, they had this big Oprah event. Welcome to the podcast, by the way. The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Us, we're back. Yeah, it's nice of Oprah. I know she's been busy of late. That was very timely and topical of her to record that for us.
Yeah, I just called in a quick favor. I was like, can you take care of this for me real quick? She's
I know
like,
you're tight with Stedman, so it's good that you're pulling those contacts in.
I'm Stedman's masseuse, and a lot of people don't realize that, but that's why we have some of the connections that we do. So, But yeah, I heard Chris Rock and Ben Stiller donated $20 million themselves. I was like, they got a lot of cash, but that's still very nice, right?
It's a lot of money to just give away. And yeah, it's nice to see the comedians teaming up like that. I saw Ben Stiller at the DNC, so he's putting his money where his mouth is. And kudos. Listen, if I had a spare $10 million, I would absolutely give it to her.
Yeah, because it's that important, or you just like her so much?
Yeah, I just like her so much. No, I mean, it's that important, and I believe in her that much. And I'm just fantasizing about a scenario where I'm like, I could do without this $10 million and still be fine. Because I'm assuming they both threw 10 in and, made $20 million. So.
Right. Is it a write-off? I mean, it's a write-off at the very least anyway, right?
I don't think so. I don't think political donations are tax write-offs, are they? I don't know.
Oh,
certainly don't take any tax advice from us here at the Vocal Minority.
Yeah, we've both been in deep trouble, so don't take any advice from us when it comes to taxes.
Hey, this show is part of my terms of my probation. This is like community service I'm doing, so I hope people are benefiting from it.
Yeah, I think they are, dude. Thank you for all the downloads and for all the likes, comments, and shares on our social media pages. We're everywhere, aren't we, Stefan?
We definitely are. TheVocalMinority.net is our website. Social medias, TikTok and YouTube are the fun ones, the big ones. That's where all the real action's happening. But, we've been having some fun on Reddit recently. There's one page that seems to be doing well for us. Reddit's weird because everything's topic-based. It's hard to say we're on Reddit. Like, we're on little parts of Reddit, so I don't know. But then, we're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, if that's a thing still. I don't know. So
it's a thing, and we're there. So if that's where you want to find us, whatever. But like Steve said, YouTube and TikTok are our big pages, and thank you for that. We've been getting a lot of recent love from y'all, so we appreciate it.
And yes, between Oprah and the social media stuff, the political temperature is turning up dramatically. We are officially down to about 6 weeks until Election Day. I cannot believe we are in the home stretch of all of this.
I was trying to break it down in my head as far as like, like if you get paid every 2 weeks, then, only 3 paydays away from this new president, from Election Day. And it's crazy to think. I mean, it's not much time, dude. This is the time that goes in a flash. And it seems like Kamala's out hitting it hard. I mean, I've been seeing her everywhere, right? Doing good things, talking to good people, making good points.
Oh, yeah. And it's just going to get busier and crazier. And, there's plenty of news. So unless you have anything else to dissect first, I'd say let's get to it.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you this. We interrupt our program to bring you a special.
Here is a news bulletin.
We interrupt this program to bring you
the humanity, all the
a date which will live in infamy.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Need to know news. News you need to know.
Steve Harness.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about recording the show in the afternoons like we do?
What's that?
I don't feel like I can have my cup of coffee until we start doing the show. So I'm finally getting to my first cup of coffee for the day.
You don't drink in the morning?
I normally do. But the problem is I make my little French press and only has 2 cups of coffee. And I need 2 cups to get through the show. 1 per episode that we tape. So I try to hold off. So I don't know.
You got to get rid of that French press, dude. That French press is a problem, Like for a lazy Sunday, if you're just hanging by yourself, I get the French press, but you need coffee on demand. I mean, you have to have it. I mean, that's ridiculous that you would wait to wake up until now.
Yeah. Do I get a bigger French press or actually one of those coffee machine things? What are those? Like coffee?
I've got an espresso. That's what I use. I use an espresso machine, and I have found an Italian roast that is not an espresso-made brand that's a little less expensive. I find it on Amazon, and I'm in love with that coffee, dude.
I'll have to diversify my coffee portfolio. But
yeah.
But anyways, I'm awake now and ready to talk news. And yes, it is election season and things are going crazy. And I think I have maybe one non-political news story to get to today, but we'll see if that even makes sense.
See if we get there.
Right. First of all right, I've been seeing this making the rounds on social media. It happened in the last 24 hours. Let's start off with the good news and feel a little joy from this before I take us all down a notch, okay?
Okay, I'd like that. Set us up.
Donald Trump said that he will not run for president in 2028 if he loses to Kamala Harris this November. Hallelujah, amen. Christmas is here. We can put this long national nightmare behind us.
Yes,
we just have to defeat this man.
Yes.
Amen. Thank you.
Lord.
Thank you, Lord.
Jesus.
Did you believe him? I mean, I'll tell you that when I saw him say it, normally I don't believe anything that comes out of his mouth. But for just a second, I saw defeat in his eyes and heard it in his voice. And I was like, he doesn't want to be a loser twice. Or thrice, rather. Okay, so.
Yes, I did see that same defeated look, and it makes total sense that he would not want to keep putting himself through this. I mean, he's an old guy already, so it does make a lot of sense. And yes, I've seen a lot of liberals, applauding this online, that he says he won't run again. You want to know the problem, though?
Yeah, please.
He said this last election that if he lost, that he would go away. Trump's promised in 2020 that he would, quote, vanish if he lost the election. He said, "You'll never see me again." He told a rally crowd back in 2020. So he has made this proclamation before, and obviously he didn't follow up on it. Trump had also previously suggested that if he wins, he should be allowed to remain in office for one additional term. In other words, 3 terms total.
Right.
Because he says in 2020 he should have gotten a third term as a redo because they spied on his campaign. So not only has he promised to go away before, but he's also dangled that if he does win, he's going to try to stick around for a third term, which Republicans will somehow justify as being owed to him.
I would take that claim seriously because I just saw that he was reopening charges against Hillary Clinton, taking her back to court. So, I mean, he believes that. And, like a lot of us believe that if he gets in, he'll be there until the day he dies. We just can't let him into office. And we all know that. That's why we feel this big blue wave rushing across. It's bipartisan blue wave, dude. I mean, people are feeling it all over this nation of ours. And this is exactly why. I mean, who says that? I feel I want to redo. Like, really? Yeah. I didn't get to do it consecutively. I would have been so much better if I could have just had, 8 years consecutive. It's like, no, you wouldn't. You would have killed us. You would have killed us.
In the normal world of politics, when someone loses a national election, that's the end of them. We didn't bring Hillary Clinton back. I mean, when someone's done, they're done. They've lost. The milk is sour. So the fact that the GOP thought to bring him back for this, losers repeat tour was sad enough. So I see no reason why they wouldn't try again in 4 years. But I did see the look on his face, and he is just getting older by the day and more senile by the day. So I'm optimistic. However, this implies or this assumes that we're going to defeat him this November so that he cannot come back in 4 years. I just want to share a little bit of updated polling. I don't want us all to lose our liberal hard-ons, but is it okay if I do that?
Yeah, no, we got to be real, right? I mean, we're all about facts, so.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the blue wave and the enthusiasm, and I'm seeing it all over the place in my real life, certainly on the interwebs. And I think there's reason to believe that, we're going to do well in this election. But I don't want anyone getting cocky. New polling just came out, and the average of national polls, I believe it had Kamala at 49% and Trump at like 44, 45%. So she's got like a 5-point lead. But again, that's nationally. Do we elect presidents nationally, Nick?
No, we do not. I don't know why you care so much about the center of the country, Steve, but tell us why you do.
Well, the center's important because these people somehow, for some reason, are undecided, which I still can't wrap my head around. The last debate, I don't remember which network I was on, probably NBC. They had a little panel of undecided voters, and they were all saying the same thing of like, I hate Trump, morally speaking. He's a disgusting human being, but he makes more sense for my pocketbook, so I may have to vote for my bottom line. Like, first of all, right there, don't you feel like a terrible person if you say he's morally a horrible person, but I'm going to vote for my dollar bills?
Well, I mean, it's what's wrong with this world. I mean, it's greed, and I say that as a somewhat privileged person. Like, I don't struggle to pick my meals and stuff like that. So I understand my choices could be different than other people's choices, but I want those people to know that are like not eating 3 times a day and just picking one meal a day, that the services that are available to you to help you out and get you back on your feet are not going to be there anymore.
Right. And the people, like this one woman in particular on this panel, she was some real estate agent. She's doing just fine financially. There's some implication that if Harris were elected, that you're all just homeless all of a sudden. People like you, Nick, they're saying like, hey, I'm comfortable enough. Nope, you're going to be homeless. Kamala wins.
They had somebody, I think she was with CNN, and I wish I could remember her name, but I can't. She was doing a boat parade to see who could have the Trumpiest boat, okay? And they had all these very expensive boats out on the water with the Trump flags and everything else. And, she asked the question, like, why are you for Trump? And he said, I want the economy to get better. I want interest rates to go down, which are all things that we all want, by the way.
And are happening, by the way.
Yes, they are. They don't just happen overnight. They're happening faster here in America than they are anywhere else around the world. But she was like, I can't help but notice, like, you don't seem to be hurting. Like, you've got a $500,000 boat out here. He was like, I work for that boat. And she's like, I'm not saying you didn't, but you have what you need. Like, why are you saying that?
Yeah, Trump's facts don't hold water. I hope his supporters' boats don't either, because we can do with a few less. But anyways, my point is we obviously elect a president state by state, and it comes down not only to the center of the country, but to the swing states. Like I was saying, in national polling and all in all, Trump has fallen behind, and Harris has pulled ahead by about 5 points on average. That's good. However, according to the latest New York Times Siena College poll of likely voters conducted between September 17th and the 21st, so just recently, Trump is leading the vice president in the Sunbelt states of Georgia, Arizona, and North Carolina. These are all swing states, not so much North Carolina, but definitely swing states there.
Sure.
In Georgia, a state which Trump lost to Biden in 2020 by about 12,000 votes, the former president is edging out Harris 49 to 45%. In Arizona, Harris is trailing Trump 45 to 50 in Arizona. And in North Carolina, she's down by 2 points. So these are states that we don't necessarily have to win. But, Biden did win Georgia and he did win Arizona. So I would like to see those back in our column. But I'm going to make one of my little predictions, I guess we'll call it. In 2016, everyone was saying that the polling underreported the Trump support out there, okay? And it panned out to mainly be true. Those polls in 2016, Trump was losing, but it was within the margin of error. And as we know with margins of error, if the scale tips slightly one way or the other, it can go your direction or not.
Sure.
I really feel that the support for Kamala right now is being underpolled, especially in that 18 to 35-year-old demographic. Most of these polling companies, they sample a certain number of demographics and then they stop. They don't want to oversample any individual demographic because that could skew the results. However, Kamala is beating Trump in certain key demographics by double digits when it comes to that youth vote, when it comes to the female vote. So I think they are undersampling those demographics in this polling. And if the people show up in the numbers that those, deeper polls do show, Kamala has a 30-point lead amongst 18 to 35-year-olds, a 20-something point amongst women. If they actually show up in those numbers, the polling will not be correct. The votes will turn out to be more pro-Kamala, and these swing states will tip the right direction. So it's being underreported this time. That is my prediction. Obviously, we need to get through Election Day to find out, but I really do feel the momentum is not being reported accurately.
The numbers, something else that just goes to show, the numbers for newly registered voters are beyond what we've seen in a lot. Maybe I don't know how long, but they're up huge, dude. So we know that these young people are registering to vote, which is very important, and we think we know why. We think we know, I think this is a Kamala vote all the way. But like you said, we got to continue to be diligent, continuing to talk to people, continuing to do our small work, whatever that may be. They were talking, I heard a lot about what you were just talking about this weekend, or this morning rather. They were talking about Florida. They were talking about Texas, because for the first time in a long time, people are saying like, oh, we could see Florida flipping blue. We could see Texas possibly flipping blue. And people are coming on and they're saying, you know what? Harris has taken in all this money, and should they be spending it in those states? Should they be spending it in Florida? Should they be spending it in Texas? And the guy was saying, oh, I don't think so at all, because exactly what you just said, the Sunshine Belt, this is where we need to take care of things. We need to do it in Arizona. That would be a huge one for us. We need to spend the money there. He didn't think there was a lot of people that are still undecided, by the way. It was like, I think people have made their mind up for the most part.
Yeah, part of me thinks they should be dumping money into those states, but I believe the momentum I'm referring to is pretty organic. It's already being fueled by the national media, by the conversations going on. So I don't know that the youth vote of like 18 to 35 is going to be swayed by more TV ads. They're not even watching TV. And I see very limited amount of political ads on YouTube and, social media and whatnot. So I don't know if they need to, but I'm just saying, like, I really think this blue wave is going to come to fruition. It's going to crash harder than we thought, but that's only if we all stay diligent and show up to vote. Okay.
As Kamala talks about, she has a common sense, economic plan. That's not good for some of the younger people. I mean, I shouldn't say it's not good. They don't care as much about that, but women's health rights, I think Trump really, and J.D. Vance really screwed the pooch with all the cuts that they made. They got Roe v. Wade thrown out. Trump did that. He's taken responsibility for it. And they continue to campaign on it and try and fit people into this box that they're trying to create. But the country has shown women don't like it, dude. I mean, men don't like it. I don't like it.
I think it's one of the reasons she's got the double-digit gap on women supporting her over Trump. And speaking of Texas, just saw a story this morning about birth-related mortalities have gone up like 50-something% in Texas, and it's all tied to lack of abortion care access or certain medical procedures that fall under the umbrella of abortion. That, let's say, if there's a complicated birth happening, there's certain procedures that doctors are hesitant to do because they could be considered a late-term abortion. They were just interviewing some well-to-do white woman who almost died giving birth because they told her, we're not supposed to really do that procedure. We're nervous about it. It could be considered an abortion thing. And the doctor spent like an hour debating it amongst themselves and the human resources at the hospital. And yeah, I mean, it's a real life impact. And I will tell you, too, the one answer that, I was wishing Kamala would have given in that debate that she did not. When Trump was saying that, I've done everyone a favor, I put Roe v. Wade back to the states. We'll let the states decide, okay? I wish Kamala would have responded to that by saying there are certain issues that have to be led from the top, from the feds. You cannot let the states each have their own rules on abortion, because then you're going to have women living in one state that don't have access to care that a woman in the next state over would. Or you're going to force somebody to commute or travel to another state, which you don't always have the time and opportunity. So this bullshit GOP answer of let the states decide doesn't hold water, because on something like abortion, you have to have unified laws and rules across the board.
When it comes to healthcare, dude, not everyone has this time. Sometimes these are, 5-minute decisions that have to be made, or you're going to lose your life. And that's way more common than people believe. I understand that doctors over the last, 20 years have been put in a very tough situation with malpractice, okay? Because when you're a doctor, you have to also take an oath. You have to take an oath to serve that patient and protect their life the best that you possibly can. And doctors started getting sued a lot for malpractice. Okay. That made them a little leery of prescribing certain medications that the patient needed, but they didn't want to be held accountable for it if something happened. So people started not being able to get pain medication. Okay. And it was a huge problem. Doctors now have to decide whether or not I can save a woman's life if something is happening here, because they may go to prison. It's not even about malpractice and money. It's, oh yeah, I could go to prison.
Or they could lose their medical license and go out of business and have means of sporting. And, my dad is a now retired doctor, but he once upon a time told me how much he spends in medical malpractice insurance. It's more per year than most people's making a salary, because that world has become so litigious. And my dad, by the way, was a medical expert that used to testify at malpractice hearings against the doctors. He would be the guy they would call to say that, no, this guy really screwed up. And I asked him once, like the old thing you see in TV shows, if somebody's choking in public or has a heart attack, would you step up and help that person?
Right.
And he said, the Hippocratic Oath that you were talking about necessitates that I do it. However, every doctor has a voice in their head saying, don't do it. You do anything wrong here, you're going to get sued. You could lose your license. You could go to jail potentially, millions in fine. We painted them in a corner where their oath necessitates they go help somebody. But society has made, tied one hand behind their back, to say the least.
Completely. And this just makes it even worse. You talked about traveling to a different state, having to travel to a different state. That can be illegal. I think it was Texas that said, you're not allowed to go do it somewhere else. And if you're caught doing it, you will be arrested. That seems like Nazi Germany to me, dude.
I believe J.D. Vance just spoke about that recently, that he would be in favor of stopping people from traveling out of state to receive the sort of care, which is just even worse. That is effectively just a national ban then. So yeah, it is firing up women, and it should be firing up minorities and anyone who cares about women, minorities, gay people, whatever it is. So the blue wave is forming, but only if we all show up. So, someone on one of our pages today said, why are you even bothering with these MAGA types? And I said, we're not. We're talking to the center of the country, and we're trying to keep liberals fired up to turn out your neighbors, to show up to vote, to register, whatever it is.
100%. And it is very doable. We know we're not getting anywhere with these MAGA types, but those other folks that are on the fence or they're starting to lose steam, some of them are saying I don't think I'm going to vote. Tell them why they should vote, because this is a serious election. Whether you think you're going to lose democracy or not, this is a serious election for a lot of other reasons. So keep talking to people.
Absolutely. We had talked, too, about the fact that there are Trump election officials around this country that are going to screw with this election. The big concern is after the voting is done, if they refuse to certify votes, that could really be a problem. But I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I do have two quick stories I can get into here that show you that this sort of stuff is already starting.
Sure.
So, first of all, Georgia. This is quite a debacle. So Georgia Election Board votes to require ballots be hand-counted in November. The Georgia State Election Board on this past week here voted 3-2, and those three were all Trumpian people, to require counties to hand-count ballots cast on Election Day, a move that could drastically lengthen the amount of time that it takes to get results out of Georgia. So first of all, I just want to clarify something. They're not hand-counting the votes, they're hand-counting the number of ballots received, which just seems mundanely stupid. So first they're going to count and verify, okay, there's 10 million votes or whatever in this box.
Right.
And then they're going to run them through the machine. If there's any discrepancies at all, they will be required to hand count everything. But the problem this is going to cause is, first of all, we're not going to get results out of Georgia on election night. It is mathematically impossible to do it that quickly.
Oh, it could be weeks.
Potentially, yes. So the problem is, first of all, it's going to delay the whole process, but this also means that now more human hands are going to be all over all those ballots, which could not only lead to accusations of tampering, but part of this new rule they just passed was if any of these people disagree with each other, you counted 1,000 ballots, I counted 999, start it over, recount everything. So all someone has to do to monkey with this process to just say, I counted, I got a different number. Let's start over, everybody.
And you remember the fake electors scheme. You don't think there's going to be shit like that going on in this? Hey, only count 874 of them.
Yes. Raffensperger, the Secretary of State down there, has said that this will cause chaos. And by the way, not only were the Democrats down there opposed to it, but there were prominent Republicans that also said, like, this is not a good idea. This is going to screw up the process, not streamline it. We've been spending years trying to get results out quicker and accurately. Now you've just thrown a monkey wrench that will cause chaos on election night. And like you said, probably for days or weeks afterwards.
Well, don't you think it just opens up the time for, like, we know if it's not where Trump wants it to be nationwide, look how much rhetoric is going to be. He's going to have 2 weeks to sit there and piss on shit,
yes.
About this is fake, this is wrong. We're seeing it in Georgia. This is wrong. All that shit's going to be happening. Chaos.
Absolutely. And then a couple of weeks ago, another good example of Trumpians trying to screw with the election before we even really cast ballots. You were in Omaha, and you were talking about the fact that there were blue dots popping up everywhere, right?
Yes.
And those blue dots represented the Democrats in Nebraska that are trying to flip the state, which is a long shot. But really, there's one congressional district in Nebraska, in Omaha, that appoints their electoral college votes based on the congressional district vote only. And that one little district often goes blue.
Yes.
So that's one vote that Nebraska has that could go blue. And we've already seen a couple of mathematical scenarios where Kamala Harris could reach 269 and not hit 270 without that one vote. Or that there could be a tie where they each get 269 and that one vote could decide the entire election.
Yes.
So have your brothers told you what's going on in Nebraska right now with that one electoral vote?
No.
Well, they're trying to screw with it, but I think sanity may have won. A Nebraska Republican state lawmaker said just today on recording day that he remains opposed to switching how the state allocates its electoral votes. There has been a push to redo how Nebraska allocates that one vote to help Trump. The Republicans there are trying to change the laws in the state weeks before the election so that all of the electoral votes in Nebraska would go for the state total and that one vote cannot be allocated on its own.
This is such bullshit, dude. Stop changing things that you don't like. You cannot do that.
Right. So thank Jeebus, Allah, whoever you want to pray to, a Nebraska Republican state lawmaker, Republican, said that he remains opposed to switching how they're going to do this, which is effectively blocking the bid by Donald Trump and his allies to change the system in a bid for an extra electoral vote this fall. The development appears to cap months of deliberations over whether Nebraska lawmakers could change the way the state hands out its electoral votes in a way that would have benefited Trump. So what is this guy's name? Nebraska GOP State Senator Lauren Lippincott. And I don't know if Lauren is a guy or a girl, by the way. I think it's a guy, actually. But so whoever you are, GOP State Senator Lippincott, thank you for seeing the bigger picture here, that what you guys were trying to do right before the election was just wrong.
Yeah, thank you for standing up for a free and fair election. We don't get to change things based on, I want this to go blue, I want it to go red. This is the way everything is set up, and this is how we have the vote. Leave it alone, dude. Leave it alone. Stop redrawing districts. Stop trying to trick everybody into winning different states. Like, let the people vote. I hate the Electoral College, dude. I got into a big argument with my brother. And it's funny, coming in from a place like Seattle, he's like, it doesn't seem fair to me for you to be in Seattle. Well, of course, you have all these votes. We have a state like Omaha where they're spread out so far, and little people, there's a town of, 20,000 here. There's a town of 10,000 here. And our vote doesn't get to make nearly the difference that your vote gets to make.
What is he talking about? Every state has electoral votes based on the population.
Yes, that's what he means. So I was saying, I want to get rid of the Electoral College, dude. Why don't we just vote? Why don't we just vote and get rid of the Electoral College?
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. The original reason, and there's some conspiracy theories about where the Electoral College really came from, that it was an attempt to suppress the African-American vote back in the day. And maybe that was part of it, but that part of it is done and over. But the reason I was taught that the Electoral College existed was to basically make it really hard to tamper with the national election. That if we elect people per congressional district, if somebody stuffs the ballot box in one part of Chicago, Illinois, it only affects that one district. It cannot spread to the entire state. Because if you stuff 1 million ballots into one box, you can now sway the entire state, which could sway the entire nation. So the Electoral College was meant to narrow it down to district by district, and then each state has to then vote, as opposed to still letting it bleed further in other states. So the principle there makes sense, and it actually makes the GOP theories of a nationwide electoral scam even more implausible. But it does defeat the general American concept of one person, one vote.
Right.
You know? And if the popular votes determine the election, then I don't think there'd ever be a Republican again, and there probably wouldn't have been for the last, 25 years or whatever. But that theory of, you taint one town, though, can you imagine? One of these Trumpian people, they could screw up one district, and we would have to recount the entire country.
Yeah, that's a nightmare, dude. I don't know what the answer is. I just hate that everyone, you know what? You should not be able to change anything within a 4-year period, at the very least. If there's an issue, you need to get ahead of it and look at it and say, oh, we need to get this fixed in Omaha, or we need to get this fixed in Georgia, wherever you are, get it fixed. But you can't do this. You can't try and do this 20 days, 40 days, 50 days before the election.
I mean, how transparent. And honestly, any change should not even be able to go in effect for the next election. Even if it's 3.5 years out, it should not be able to happen until 2 elections out.
Never seen the government work so fast all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Like, geez, dude.
Yeah. So, yes, they're screwing with it in Georgia already. They're trying to screw with it in Nebraska. Hopefully the senator, nobody puts a horse head in his bed in the next day or two. But, this is going to continue to go on, and it's why we have to crush him. It's why we can't let it come down to one state or one district or whatever. So vote blue, down ballot, encourage everyone you know, and keep spreading this stuff on social media and everywhere else. Keep that positivity going.
Yeah. Yep. Keep talking about it. I'll tell you this, dude. I recommend you watch this. I recommend anyone hearing my voice now watch this. Have you looked at or read about it all, To Russia with Love?
The James Bond movie?
No, with Love, Igor and these two Russian guys that. No, dude. Do you know who I'm talking about?
The guy that sounds like my name, Les Parnas or whatever.
Yes. Yes. They just finally released this To Russia from with Love. I think it's a cutesy title or whatever. Okay, Love Parnas. This is unbelievable. If you watch this, you will see how flippin' filthy and dirty that this whole campaign was with Hillary Clinton. This whole thing leading up to Biden. I mean, these people were set in place and messing with Russia and Ukraine, and he had all the receipts. I mean, he had all the pictures, he had documents, he had handwritten notes from Giuliani that he was sitting and doing things. And, those were a couple of the guys that Trump said, like, I don't know who they are. I don't know who they are. But he's in rooms having meetings with them, and they have secret recordings of them. It is fascinating to see the level of commitment that, Giuliani and Trump especially were going to make all these things happen. No quid pro quo. Remember that whole thing?
It definitely was happening then, and it's definitely happening now, and I'm seeing very little media attention about it. I mean, we just found out a couple of weeks ago that some prominent right-wing talking heads on the interweb, influencers, are being paid by Russia. Money is being funneled to their media company. Some of these idiots are making $100,000 a month to spew what they claim they did not know were Russian talking points. Pro-Trump, anti-Kamala, pro-invading Ukraine and all this stuff. Because Russia's not stupid. They saw that some of their tricks didn't work in 2016 and 2020. So they've expanded it greatly with AI, with making fake stories. I mean, there's literally fake interviews out there where they go around faking a disaster or an incident and politicize it. And yeah, we've always said that the right wingers are just preaching to the sheep choir out there because they'll suck it up. Well, Russia saw that and decided to just start paying some of these people directly.
Yes, 100%. They were being paid. And as soon as things started to come down on these two, they threw them under the bus. Like, we don't know who these guys are. We didn't ever tell them to do anything. We don't even know them. But they've got all the receipts, dude. And it's a very good watch. I'm going to tell my brother, because he's one of those I don't think I'm going to vote guys right now. go watch this, dude, because if you can tell me what is wrong with what you just watched, like, oh, well, they could have been doing this, they could have been doing that. If you can come up with conspiracy theories, then whatever. But I think if you watch this, you're going to look at it and be like, wow, seems very factual to me. I see all the receipts, the people, some of the folks that are in jail that were with Trump. And why is Trump not in jail? Well, hopefully he will be. We say 20 to 24 years, okay?
Where are you seeing this? Is it on the interweb in general, or like Netflix or something? Or?
Yeah, I think it's Netflix.
I mean, keep in mind, everyone, the concept of projecting, Trump's been doing it for years. What he accuses other people of is almost always what he is doing. It's on the top of his mind. So he always accuses everyone else of that. And we're seeing that across the conservative blogosphere in general, where they're accusing liberal media of being paid by George Soros and Bill Gates to spew talking points, which is 1,000,000% false. But now we find out they're doing it to their people. Just like election interference, it's almost always Republicans that have ever tried to vote twice or vote for their dead relatives. Like, they're projecting all over us. So when they accuse us of something, look twice as hard at them, because they're doing what they're accusing us of.
100%. On this, I guess this is called From Russia with Lev, okay? Rachel Maddow sat down with Boris and Lev and had a conversation. It was obvious that they were nervous, but they admitted, Lev Parnas admitted, I was in a cult. I realized I was in a cult. I was being swindled, and I got caught up in it. I'm not saying that's an excuse, but I'm telling you that that's what happened. I was closer to it than any one of these people that are like, Trump, and it's a cult, dude. Get out quickly while you can.
Yeah. It really does feel like people that come out of Scientology or the cult in Waco or whatever are like these people that are like, yeah, I was truly in a cult. And, so many of the MAGA people don't believe they're in one, but you are.
Yes.
Listen to people like this who are now detoxed from that whole world and readily admit to it. I've yet to see any liberal be interviewed. We're like, boy, I was in a liberal cult. I don't know how the hell I fell for that.
Right. Yeah, I haven't seen that either. This is, it's funny that you say that because, most of the time you don't see MAGA people apologize when they know they're wrong. Lev Parnas had a lot to do with the whole Hunter Biden thing. Okay. Yeah. He said, let's go after him, Burisma, all the Hunter Biden stuff, the laptop, everything. He was in tears saying, you know what? I hope that one day he can forgive me for what I did to him, because there was nothing behind it. I was just being told to do this, and I felt like it's the right thing to do. I was in a cult. He actually sat down at the end of this with Hunter Biden in the same room and had a conversation that is enlightening. And I think everybody should give it a chance and at least take a look at it and see what you think.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know. Start the news chant, please. Come on. News.
All right, we'll get to it. Welcome to the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. Steve Harness, when I say the name Janet Jackson to you, does it make you quiver a little bit inside?
So funny. You know what my next story is on my list? Janet Jackson debacle.
Oh, okay.
We're on the same page. Listen, Janet does not make me shiver or quiver the same way that her late great brother did. There was an era where I liked Janet's music, and I thought she might be the more normal of the Jackson crew.
But she did set us back just personally about 10, 15 years, with her little wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah, what Nick is referencing is during the Super Bowl incident where she flashed her boobie on purpose. This was when we were originally doing the radio version of the Vocal Minority, and our syndication was expanding rapidly. And then all of a sudden this happened, and the entire radio world, for some reason, was the ones that took the brunt of it. And they started censoring and canceling hot shock shows and Howard Stern-like people. And we were on all of these types of stations. So it completely screwed our career over. That is a fact, yes. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So when I saw her name come up again, and especially in a negative way, I was like, what did this bitch do now? It's real funny to think about, that I hear from a lot of the MAGA types that racism doesn't exist. Implicit bias is a thing, right? For everybody.
Yeah.
And the MAGA types don't seem to understand that. It's a not to use a pun, but it's a black and white world for them where it's like, I'm either racist or I'm not. Okay. Janet Jackson, don't you think you're being a little irresponsible as you make comments about Kamala Harris that she said after a stirring controversy, her remarks from Janet Jackson, she commented on the nominee's biracial identity during an interview with The Guardian. When she was asked the prospect of the United States having its first black female president, Jackson cast doubt on Harris's blackness. Wow. Right. That's a bit irresponsible and a bit racist, if you ask me. You know what they say? She said, you know what they supposedly say? She's not black. That's what I heard, that she's Indian. And now I was just told that they discovered her father was actually white. Where are you getting this shit, dude?
Well, like she just said, it's what I'm hearing. And this is how misinformation works. It's one of Trump's mantras. I hear these things. I don't know. People are saying. And it's so disappointing because you want to think that a Janet Jackson is a educated, wealthy person who probably is not sucked into some of these right-wing, talking point worlds. But here's Janet Jackson going on the record in an interview saying something she heard. I heard her father was white. I heard she's not even black. This is what I've heard. Like, how sad of a state of commentary is that?
And it's really sad, dude, when it's coming from a woman of color who has faced a lot of these racist issues herself in her lifetime. To throw that back out into the universe about some, I heard people were saying this, but before you talked about it, you didn't go do a little research and be like, oh, that's nonsense. This is what happens in this country. You remember Trump with Obama and the birtherism scandal. You wasn't even born in the country. I want to see your birth certificate. Like, this is all racist shit that's going on. And now for Janet Jackson to be saying something like that, I was like, doesn't make sense coming from a woman of color who has had to have, faced some of these racial issues.
This is how propaganda and gaslighting works. They know it's a lie, but they repeat it over and over because a certain number of people just hear things and don't bother to fact check it. Even someone who is educated and has money and access to all these sorts of information, she was willing to sit down in front of a media personality and say this stuff. Not even a voice in her head of thinking like, don't even comment on politics. Like, there's no good to come of that. But she commented and she threw out just complete propaganda, misinformation, and never even heard herself speaking to think that, hey, maybe I should have looked into that. How did Kamala Harris claim for years that she's black if her father's white?
Right. And I thought to myself, well, you come from a family of idiots. I mean, good performers, but idiots. Like, this is a guy your brother was like, no, it's fine to cuddle. It's love. It's love. It's fine to cuddle with boys. Like, you guys don't really think about what you're saying. So I guess I should kind of expect it from you, Janet Jackson.
I know Janet comes from a family where a black kid can grow up to be a white man. So maybe she's just... she's confused over what black or white really is.
And that's a joke, but there may be some truth to that. She may be showing her own privilege. By saying some of this stuff. Like, I just can't imagine somebody doing that.
The story got even weirder. So Janet Jackson said all that stuff a couple of days ago. And then like a day or so ago, someone in charge of her world, some manager or whatever, let me just see here. A man who claimed to be Janet Jackson's manager said that the singer, as well as her brother Randy Jackson, fired him after he issued an apology tied to her controversial comments about Kamala Harris's racial identity. So a day after she said this, a press release came out saying that we take it back. Janet apologizes. She was a victim of misinformation. That guy did it without Janet Jackson's authorization. He decided he was just going to try to make her look better and put it out. But Janet Jackson found out and is pissed and fired the guy for trying to cover up her mistake.
Or trying to just fix her mistake. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Like, hey, I found this out. I'm in charge of taking care of your image, and we don't want that image that you're an idiot like that. So I can't believe she fired him, dude. That's hysterical.
He put out a thing saying it was based on misinformation misinformation, apologized for any confusion it caused. Jackson's representatives then dismissed the statement to Variety magazine, adding that this man wasn't her manager and wasn't authorized to speak on her behalf. He was saying the right thing on her behalf, and they got pissed and fired him.
It's called the old double down. Just double down on the bullshit.
And by the way, that reporter for The Guardian pushed back on her during the interview and said, nah, I don't think that's true. That's misinformation. And she stood by her claim.
Yeah.
So I don't officially know where she's at anymore, if she understands she's wrong or not.
I don't think she does. I mean, from everything I've read, I didn't hear the follow up with her guy trying to take care of her. But yeah, she pushed back. She was like, no, that's what I heard. It's true. The reporter's like, that is not true, and gave her evidence of where her father came from and everything else. She didn't seem to care. So
maybe she is MAGA because facts don't matter to them. There is no amount of information you can share with these people that will change their ideology. And much like this Mark Robinson guy from North Carolina, turns out some black people can be really freaking racist.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy that called himself a black Nazi, who said he's in favor of slavery and would like to, quote, own a few of them himself. Like, maybe Janet Jackson is a freaking racist that thinks all of these things.
It's very possible. I mean, that's what this statement would lead me to believe. I don't know it to be true, but it's the impression that I get.
There's no good at doubling down on this stuff. It's fake. But there they go.
There they go. And there's a lot of people that come and piggyback this and try and get the troops riled up as I go onward with this story. I bring up a guy that you like to lay your head on, America. It's Mike Lindell. Okay, I'm not accusing you of it. I'm accusing America of Mike Lindell's. His new My Pillow prices have sparked a bunch of claims that people should be in the know about. Have you read about it?
I have heard a little about it, yes. But go ahead and expand for everyone's knowledge.
All right. Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy, the guy that I'm assuming is close to bankrupt, or maybe he has filed for bankruptcy. He spent all his money being sued by Dominion and other people that the election was rigged and everything else. And I don't really see Donald Trump spending any time with them anymore, so I'm not sure why he's still doing this. But he just put his My Pillows on a special price right now. These My Pillow advertisements have been selling the pillow, the standard classic My Pillow, for $29.99 and $49.98. They have all been marked down to $14.88. You might think that's an odd number, right?
It is a weird number. Do you ever hear anything end with 88 cents? 98 cents, 99 cents, maybe 49 cents, but does anything ever end at 88 cents?
Not that I've ever seen, like it's not the common marketing price. Right. This specific price of $14.88 raised some eyebrows to some keen observers. I wouldn't have known this. It is affiliated with white supremacists and online neo-Nazi groups. And people are saying, people are actually saying, like, oh, maybe this has something to do with a little dog whistle. Mike Lindell. Could Mike Lindell be a Nazi, a racist? I don't know, but $14.88 seems a little bit odd to mark his pillows down to when it coincides with calling out this group of online neo-Nazis.
Right. It seems more than a little odd. And like you said, why is he still persisting with these things? And having some affiliation with the white supremacist world would make a lot of sense. So the number 1488, like you said, I've never heard of that. Never would have, thought twice about it. I may have thought 1488, that is a weird price. But yeah, do you have the history behind the number?
Well, I don't know that I have the complete history behind it. I just have what was commented on by a professor. So tell us what the history of it. It has something to do with Heil Hitler.
Yes, it's got a couple things here. So the number 1488 is a common symbol used amongst hate groups. The number 14 is shorthand for the, quote, 14 words, end quote. That is a stand-in for a white supremacist slogan. So whatever their slogan is, apparently it has 14 words, so they all refer to it as the 14 words. So
okay.
There's the 14 part. The 88 refers to an abbreviation of Heil Hitler. Heil Hitler. Since the H is the 8th letter of the alphabet. So HH, Heil Hitler, would be referred to as 88. So putting 1488 together, common symbol amongst these hate groups, and coincidentally, what Mike Lindell is now selling these pillows for. And by the way, a spokesperson for MyPillow did not return any request for comment, and Lindell cannot be reached for comment either, which he seems to find cameras all the time. So it's interesting that all of a sudden now, no comment.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Why wouldn't you jump out to be like, no, this is a coincidence and it's a mistake. We're changing the price to $14.89 or whatever. Like we don't want to be associated with any idea of this.
I think the spokesperson at the company said, does anyone here want to go on the record commenting? And they all put their right hand up in the air.
But not all the way up.
They realized, wait, this might not be the right spokesperson here. That's
right.
Not a good look for the company. So.
Yeah, just to be fair and transparent, they reached out to a professor to talk to a little bit about this. This guy's name is Seth Kotler. He's a history professor at Willamette University in Oregon, which is a pretty liberal area. He said, I doubt Lindell is behind this or would even get the reference, but that doesn't really matter because it's a dog whistle anyway. I think he may have known.
Of course he may have known. So are you suggesting somebody in marketing was just like, hey, let's slash the price to $14.88 of all numbers? And no one said, we don't ever do 88. Like $14.99? Is that what you meant? No. It's got to be $14.88. Okay. That doesn't make sense. How about $13.99? No. It needs to be $14.49. That has no...
Yeah, it's ridiculous, dude. And like you just pointed out, if you don't jump on and try and say like, nope, mistake, we're sorry if we offended anyone or called out to anyone that we didn't want to call out to, we apologize and we're moving past this. It was a mistake. Then maybe you got something to do with it, dude.
Now, having said that, I ordered 4 of the pillows at $14.88 because that is a hell of a deal on those pillows.
It's a hell of a deal. You love the MyPillow, dude.
I do. I hate it. I just had this discussion with Kennedy the other night. Like we were fighting over the pillows in my bed, and I was like, "The MyPillow? That's literally MyPillow." Okay, I really do like that pillow.
Yes.
I hate where it comes from, and I didn't buy it. It was given to me by a client. But God damn it, I do like the MyPillow.
Well, he should just get rid of the company, dude. I mean, he should sell the company to somebody else so we can enjoy the actual pillow without having to invest in garbage like this,
I do want to point out, though, hopefully that shows some liberal sincerity. Never have we tweeted, Nick, I hate Mike Lindell. I hate the MyPillow.
Yeah.
I'm honest enough to tell you I do hate Mike Lindell. Haven't tweeted it, but I don't hate the MyPillow. It is a good product, okay? Sorry.
Yeah. You've never backed down from that, that's for sure.
This is Need to Know News. News you need to know.
Appreciate your transparency, dude.
Thank you. I saw a funny fake tweet the other day from Ronald Reagan saying, I hate Wham.
Yeah, you know what? Be honest with me if obviously what we're talking about is Trump saying, I hate Taylor Swift. I've been seeing all kinds of different ones from Trump now, and I say that in air quotes because I don't know. I don't even know what's real anymore in this world. But, Billie Eilish and Phineas came out and said, we're voting for Kamala. And I hate Billie Eilish. Is it true? Is he doing it?
I don't think that is true because I haven't seen that reported anywhere credible, but I see it on the interwebs. So,
yeah.
So who knows?
Let me tell you this. You think that Kamala is cool? Well, a lot of people are saying that she's cool, and that's why the kids are going to vote for her. Kamala Harris is on track to be the sweariest president in U.S. history. Do you know what that means?
Oh, come on. She's been swearing more than Trump? Is that even possible?
I don't know. The Asian Pacific American Institute of Congressional Studies Legislative Summit seems an unlikely forum for a woman who wants to be the next leader of the free world to drop an F-bomb. But for women who want to be the next leader, Vice President Kamala Harris addressing a gathering of young Asian American and Pacific Islander people said it. Said the motherfucker thing, said the fucker thing. Have we heard presidents or people running for presidential position use the F word?
Trump, yes. Trump absolutely has. Listen, I'm not a fan of this new era of politicians swearing. I think it's beneath what you're trying to achieve for the office and being a leader. But yeah, Trump started it, and now I've heard Tim Walz swear, I've heard Kamala Harris swear, I've heard J.D. Vance swear. Like, apparently the ship has just sailed on that old, what used to be considered polite, that you don't swear when you're a presidential nominee or a vice president or any of that stuff. But yeah, Trump absolutely has dropped the F-bomb before.
It's interesting because, you know, the way that we grew up and even into the Obama years, being presidential meant in a lot of ways that you were showing kids that one day I could do that. One day I could be the president. He was a person, or she was a person, to be revered. And they started working hell and damn into their speeches to show when they were really angry, we don't give a damn. You know, you never used to hear that shit when I was a kid. But it started working up, and then Trump started letting shit and fuck and all that stuff go. And now I guess it's sort of commonplace. And I don't know. I mean, I guess it shows a bit of a human side, but there is a time and a place for everything, right?
I'm just Googling real quick. I mean, here's an article back from 2019 about the cursing president. Donald Trump is the first president to make C-SPAN unsuitable for young viewers. You know, he's definitely been doing it. But yeah, I don't like this trend. I mean, I like the Kamala's keeping it real and whatnot, but come on, do you have to swear?
They thought this article goes on to talk about, you know, everyone thought it was kind of boring that presidents were using language like this. But when Kamala made the comment, sometimes you just got to kick that fucking door down, that it ignited something in younger people or in people that are having issues kicking doors or getting through doors. And when she said it like that, it pulled them in, you know, and made them actually feel it. So maybe there is a time and a place for it. I don't know. I'm not the judge and jury of that.
It's similar to this show. We have tried to say that let's not just swear for the heck of it, because we can, but if it's going to articulate a point, if there's passion or emotion behind it, then go ahead and let it fly. Neither of us is running for president, but doing it in the example you just gave, still not a big fan of it, but at least I understand the emotion you were trying to convey.
Right, yeah, 100%. They also make the distinction about using it the way she did with, like, you got to kick the effing door down, and the way that Trump uses it, like, you know, referring to African nations as shithole countries. You know, there's a different way. Language is very important, and the way that you use it, and those are two stark contrast difference, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But, well, fuck it. What are we going to do? We're all fucked anyways if we lose the election, so the fuck do I care?
Let's burn it to the ground, damn it.
Yes. Whatever gets the youth out, Nick, whatever gets them inspired. So, I know she's lit with the Riz, so drop the F-bomb up and down, right?
I would say so. Well, keep doing what you're doing. I mean, it's obviously working, so let's keep it rolling.
She's going to start hosting freak-off parties like P Diddy.
Oh, gosh, dude. Gosh, we got to get into some of that at some point in time.
Is it bad that I admire him a little? You were hosting 24-hour-long orgies? That's insane.
Yes, dude, it's bad.
He had 1,000 bottles of lube in his apartment.
So funny. Did you see the guys carrying boxes, sealed boxes of lube and baby oil?
I would think he's famous enough to make those parties consensual. I don't know why you had to drug people and entice them. Like, you're P. Diddy. Just a 24-hour sex fest should not be out of your, your grab there. But what do I know?
Well, thanks for listening to the podcast, The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. See our socials. They're TikTok, YouTube, Threads.
Yeah. Keep going. What else we got?
Oh, we got Reddit. We got who's the guy? What's his name? Leon. His name's Leon. Leon Musk. Yeah, I forget his name sometimes. Rachel asked me, "Why do you guys keep calling him Leon?" I was like, "Because Trump did it once, and we're never gonna stop."
Okay. He's a terrible freaking human being. He's a Bond villain. He is literally a Bond villain. So yes, thank you, Leon Musk. We are on Twitter. So there you go. You can find our website too, thevocalminority.net. And if you want to pick up a telephone and call us and leave a message, we can play on the show. You have that option, right?
It's 844-48-VOCAL and 2 podcasts every week. So we'll see you again.
What up, player? It's your boy Snoop. This has been a production of The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. I'd much rather sip Nick and Steve than gin and juice. So roll yourself up a fatty and mentally process everything you just heard. It's all knowledge, son. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Have yourself a blessed day. Peace.